With a question for Tory, throw your hand up in the chat or on the reactions button at the bottom of your screen. Tory, the first question this morning is from Chad Leistico.
Hey, Chad, how you doing?
Hey, doing well, Tory. I wanted to ask, I mean, you got to be first team All Big Ten punter. Where can your game improve from here in your mind?
Yeah, there's a lot of aspects that I can improve in punting, and it was obviously great to win a couple of individual accolades, but there was a lot of goals that I kind of set for myself that I didn't really reach, like more so like statistic goals that I didn't reach, which was unfortunate. I was pretty happy, obviously, being my first season. I'd never really played and didn't really know too much about it. So I think like the biggest thing for me is the traditional spiral punt. I've been kind of like emphasizing a lot of work towards, I guess, executing a proper spiral punt, as you guys probably know, and only hit the one during the season. So that's kind of probably been the biggest focus for me so far in spring ball and over the off season. There's a couple of guys that I'm going to go see throughout the break, because I know especially like to take my game to the next level and even like further progress career wise. Yeah, that's one thing that I know I need to do a lot better.
The next question, Tory, is from Steve Batterson.
Yeah, Tory, good morning. What did you learn about yourself last season?
Probably the biggest thing was that I know that I can do it. Obviously, like anyone, you always have like a few doubts, and like I said, I'd never really played the game before, so I was kind of thinking like, oh, is this me? Like, can I do this? But I think like the biggest thing for me was, yeah, now that I know that I can do it, now it's more so just about like improving and getting better. And like I said before, there's so many facets of my game that I just want to improve on and get better. But yeah, like I said, the biggest thing for me was like knowing that, okay, I can do it. Now it's just about improving and getting better.
Tory, the next question is from Scott Doctorman.
Hey, Tory, how are you?
I'm good, Scott. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. American football has a lot of nuance to the game. I mean, rules that unless you really know them, you don't know them. And in your case, one was, I think, running on the field after a touchdown because, and the other one was the Wisconsin game, the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
How much have you learned about the game since then, just the smallest details? And do you feel comfortable that you know enough to where you're not going to get yourself into trouble at some point?
I mean, honestly, I can't guarantee. I promise you that I never really tried to like do those things to obviously put the team in a bad situation. I guess like with Charlie's touchdown, he's probably like one of my best friends on the team and one of my housemates. And I think I was just so excited. I really didn't know anything about it. I mean, I kind of just ran down there to celebrate with him. And then I think it was Coach Braithwaite and Coach Franz, like, I heard them screaming. I'm like, oh, what? Like, sorry, I'm really not too sure what's going on there. I just said, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't know. And then, yeah, the kickoff, kicking the ball off the ground against Wisconsin in the last game. Yeah, again, I didn't really know. I kind of just like saw it there and yeah, kicked it off the ground because that's kind of just what I knew. But I think I've obviously like learned a lot, and I'm learning a lot during practice. Like, honestly, I'll be asked every practice. I'm asking like 3 or 4 questions, like, "Oh, can you do that? Can you do this?" So I'm always asking questions. But honestly, I didn't grow up playing the game, so I doubt I'll fully ever really know all the rules and that go with playing American football. But I try and like keep things simple for myself and just go out there, and Coach Wood just tells me to kick it there, and I'll do my best of doing so. So I just try and simplify it as much as I can.
Thanks.
Tory, we'll circle back to Chad Leistico.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to see any family? It's obviously a long commute. Anybody come over here? Can you go back? And has that been hard for you not being away from family?
Yeah. Honestly, it's been really difficult at times. But I just try and look at like the bigger picture. And I think like the biggest thing for me was, like I said before, like now that I know I can do it and like I'm here for a reason. Like there's days where it's really difficult being away from home. I think the hardest thing is I never really know when I'm going to see my family next. Like I know last year when I got here in August, I was kind of like, oh, okay, like I'll be able to go home. Like hopefully everything's cleared up by January and I'll go home for a couple of weeks after our bowl game. That didn't eventuate. And then I was like, oh, well, hopefully May, is our next break. Hopefully I can get home then. But yeah, that's not going to happen either. Just with the situation back home in Australia, they're not letting anyone in the country. And even though I've been vaccinated, it's still really difficult. And they've banned international travel until like the end of June, I believe. So yeah, for now, I'm really not too sure. I think that's the hardest part, is not really knowing. But like I've said before, everyone here is just like, has really made me feel welcome. And like, this is almost like my home now. I'm used to it. So although the days are hard here or there, it's all worth it in the end, especially when it comes to game day. So yeah, I'm really excited for the season.
Tory, the next question is from John Bowenkamp.
Hey, Tory, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, John. Yourself?
I'm doing good. You're going to be kicking in front of fans this year. Last year, you were in a lot of empty stadiums. This year, they're probably going to be. Have you thought about what that's going to be like for you? And is that something that you think you're going to have to get comfortable with?
Yes and no, because I guess it's kind of awkward when the punter goes out there, because no one really, I guess, wants you out there. And I mean, personally, I love to be out there, but at the same time, like, if I'm out there, it's usually not a good sign for the team. But I think in regards to fans, I'm actually really excited. Like a couple of years ago when I first, I guess, heard about IRA, I know in playing in front of like a Big Ten crowd is absolutely incredible. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm not really nervous about it, but yeah, ask me on the day, to be honest.
Tory, the next question is from Leah Van.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Leah. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'm Leanne from the Cedar Rapids Gazette. I was just wondering what you've learned from other kickers on the squad, like Caleb especially.
From Caleb?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously different, me being a punter and Caleb being a kicker, but I think, and even like when Keith was here last year, I think it's more so like the mental approach. I think like the biggest thing is, I guess with offense and defense, like Spencer he knows like he's going to go out there during the game. Where there was like games where, I mean, Michigan State, for example, like I think, what was it, 49-0 or 49-7, and I punted 7 times, and then Nebraska was a tight game and I punted twice. So I think the hardest thing is you never really know when you're going to go out there. Like, for example, it'll be like 3-10, and you're like, okay, like I might be a chance to go out there, and then before you know it, the ball's advanced 20 yards and it kind of starts, like your routine starts again. But I think the biggest thing I've learned from a lot of the older guys is just like routine and their mental approach to the game. Because like I've said, I've never really played the game. So that's probably like one thing I've kind of been focusing on this year, is just like getting into a routine and just getting my mind right to go out there and focus.
The next question, Tory, is from Tom Kakert.
Hey, Tory. So you got your PKA sweatshirt on.
Yeah, shout out to the guys back home.
Yeah. Do you get feedback from those guys last year? Did you get a lot of feedback from your instructors down there? And kind of what has been the reaction down under with the folks back home to your success?
Honestly, I think they were just like really proud of me, because like anyone that goes through pro kick, you never really like guaranteed anything. And I knew like as soon as I got here, I had to work my tail off to obviously start. And first and foremost, they were really proud of me. And honestly, my biggest goals really I guess they are related to football, but it's more so just like making my friends and family proud and all my coaches and teammates proud. So yeah, back down under, they were really stoked for me, because they see all like the hard work that goes into it as well. But I really can't thank them enough for getting me into this position. And I still touch base with them every couple of weeks, but they're kind of busy doing their own thing, bringing in that next phase of punters. That'll be here in a couple of months, which is exciting.
Tory, the next question is from Robert Reed.
Hey, Tory, you mentioned earlier that despite how you played last season, you may have had a couple statistical goals that you didn't quite reach. Do you have an example of an area you may have fell short in last season and you're looking to improve upon heading into next season?
Probably just my overall average. I actually set my average at 45 yards. But I think the biggest thing was, or the hardest thing was, and I think some people don't actually quite grasp this or understand, is the ball doesn't travel as far in the cold. So as I guess the games went on and the colder it got, the ball just wasn't going as far. So I understand that was also part of it. But yeah, there was a lot of goals that I kind of set for myself, and I guess like I set pretty high expectations for myself. But I guess if the bar's high and you achieve a little less, it's still like at that reasonable level. So yeah, that's just one of the goals that I obviously didn't reach, and I know it's not the end of the world. But yeah, this year, hopefully playing in the nicer weather at the start of the year will certainly help. But yeah, I just take it game by game and punt by punt.
Tori, the next question is from Chad Leistico.
So, hey, Tori, you had 40 punts last year. You mentioned wanting to do better in the spiral traditional punting. Do you know how many spiral punts you had last year? Do you chart that stuff and how
Yeah,
you
I tried every punt and write every punt down and just like what I did well or what I did and what I needed to improve on. But yeah, I only had the one spiral punt against Penn State. So I think it went 47 yards or so, but got a lucky bounce. So I was pretty lucky in terms of that.
Tori, we're going to take two more questions this morning. And the first,
yeah, sure.
Corey Barada.
Hey, Tori, I have a question for you. LeVar Woods really got Colton Rastetter involved with trickeration and the passing game over recent years. How comfortable are you throwing the football?
I really don't know how to answer that without giving too much away, but I feel, I mean, I didn't grow up throwing the football, but I've certainly learned how to, and I certainly feel a lot more comfortable now than when I first got here. But yeah, we'll have to see what Coach Woods has in store or what he wants me to do.
The final question this morning, Corey, is from Leah Van.
Yeah, so I was curious, what was it like to punt for the first time in the Big Ten? Like, was it intimidating? If you could maybe take me to that day and that scene of like your first punt.
Yeah, sure. So it's quite funny. I've said to a few of the guys before, leading up to the game, I remember the week, I was like, a lot of guys are saying, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Oh, not really. Like, as long as I don't get one backed up in the end zone, I think I'll be okay." And yeah, obviously my first punt was backed up in the end zone, but I honestly just tried to not really think about it too much, because I'm a big believer in like, you're going to have to do it. So what's the point really worrying about it? And I think that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, I knew that I was going to go out there and do it. So I just went out there and yeah, caught the ball and kicked it as far and as high as I can. And lucky enough, Terry Roberts was down there to ensure the ball was fair caught. And then, yeah, kind of just ran off to the sideline. But before I knew it, I was back out there. So it all happened pretty quickly. But I loved every moment of it. And yeah, it was something I look back on quite frequently.
All right, Tori, thanks for sharing those stories with us this morning.
Awesome. Thanks very much, guys. I'll see you on Saturday.
Hey, Charlie, how's it going today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's it like to kind of track a Tory Taylor punt, and how is it different from the other guys in the Big Ten that you started tracking it down?
I mean, it's crazy. It's great practice going out there and getting someone like Tory to punt to you. Something you don't see very often at all. So for me, like, you know, no one's punting as high and as far as he is, or at least what I saw last year. So every time I go out there, I'm getting quality reps when he's punting me the ball.
Is there a different spin, or is it how is he directional wise?
I don't know about different spin, but he, like I said, it's just much higher and farther than the typical punt that you'll see. And then, yeah, wherever he wants to put it, he's putting it. So he's definitely something special, and it's nice practice to be out there and be able to get that kind of practice every day.
Charlie, the next question is from Chad Leistico.
Hi, Charlie. Great to talk to you. Obviously you made a name for yourself in the punt return game last year, but what would you like to see from yourself in the receiving game? Obviously I'm sure you're contending for some top end reps here.
Obviously last year I was more focused on punt return. This year I hope to continue to do that, but also make a name for myself as a receiver. We got a lot of good guys in the room, and it's very competitive, but we push each other every day. So hopefully spring's a good time to work on some little things, and come fall, I'll put myself in a good spot to be out there.
If I could follow up on that, I mean, you guys have a ton of guys in the room. How is the competition right now? And how do they cycle through everyone to give everyone a chance, in such limited time?
Yeah, it's a little bit tough. Like you said, we do have a lot of talented guys. So we do cycle through everyone. But spring's a good time to really work on things and kind of work on the little things that you never really get to work on. Everyone kind of pushes everyone, young guys, old guys. So it's good to have quality competition out there.
The next question, Charlie, is from Mike Halas.
Hi, Charlie. What is the difference between playing in the Big Ten and playing in the MAC? Was there any kind of, I don't want to use the phrase learning curve, but have you had to elevate your game?
I think my roles were a little bit different. When I was playing in the MAC, I was mainly playing receiver. And, here last year, I really only returned. So I guess it's kind of hard to compare the two. I would say just probably the biggest difference is like week to week. You're always going to go up against, a good school, a good team. So the competition, I think, is a little bit different. But other than that, there's guys on both, conferences that are, fully capable.
Charlie, the next question is from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Charlie, kind of to follow up on Chad's question there. I mean, there are so many, receivers. We haven't gotten a chance to see them yet. Are there any young ones that have kind of stood out in practice that look like they have a chance to make a rotation? Because I know in the past you guys have rotated 4 and 5 receivers.
Mm-hmm. We got great young guys, Keegan and Arlen. We got a lot of other guys that are still young in their second, third years. So like I said, it's really competitive room. In spring, no depth charts really made in spring. So it's a good time for those kids to come in, learn the system, and just improve daily. And, those young guys are the guys that really make the biggest improvements just because, it's a little bit different from high school to now. So it's good to see those guys working every day and getting better every day.
Charlie, the next question is from Leah Van.
Hi, Charlie. So I was just looking at your background and your time in the MAC, and also the fact that you were recently put on scholarship in December. And I was wondering, how did you get here? How do you think you have really achieved this level of success, playing for a Big Ten team?
Well, my coming here was a little bit different path than normal. Obviously, I transferred. And when I was leaving there, I was coming off surgery, and I knew that Iowa was a good program. I knew I had to walk on based on the circumstances. So I know here would be a good fit. It's a program that, is built on guys that, come in, work hard every single day. And I think, coming, like knowing all that stuff was the main factor of why I decided to come here. So I think, just coming in every day, working hard, outworking people, and, eventually good things will come.
The next question, Charlie, is from Chad Leistico.
Spencer Petras talked to us last week about upping his completion percentage, saw a lot of opportunity, I think, in the short passing game. How do you feel like the receiving, complexion of the receivers you have could make a difference in that short passing game? Now that Amir and Brandon are gone, you got, you, Tyrone, Nico, et cetera, guys we don't know about.
I just we got a lot of talented guys in the room. I think we'll be able to help Spencer out. Spence has come a long way and he's doing really well. So I just think the guys in the room are capable, and Spence is definitely more than capable. So I think we should be good.
The next question from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, when it comes to punt return, what did you see of yourself throughout the course of the year? And are there any specific areas that you look at and you think, yeah, I need to do that a little bit differently this year?
I think it's just coming with experience. Last year was the first time in college that I've really punt returned. So each week was, you get a little bit more confidence going in. I think the big thing for me is going out there with confidence, which I think I do a pretty good job of, and just fielding those punts that are a little bit tighter when the defense is right there. So I think for me moving forward, it's just consistently building upon that confidence to field the ball and make a play.
Are you going to work out as a kick returner too? Have you done that this spring?
Yes, I know. I'm planning on that. So.
Charlie Jones, we'll take 2 more questions. The first one is from Tom Kakert.
Hey, Charlie. Wanted to ask you about Alex Padilla and Deuce Hogan. You've been catching some passes from. We haven't seen a lot from them. What have you seen from their development this spring?
Those are 2 very talented guys. Obviously they come in every day. They work hard. They're definitely capable and just great kids. Like I said, they come in, they work hard, and they make plays. And the quarterback room, just like the receiver room, there's good competition, guys pushing each other to be better every day. It's kind of what you look for and hope for. So they're doing great.
Charlie, the final question this morning is from Leah Van.
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of wide receiver competition right now, and I'm just wondering, what do you think will look different about this offense this season, especially in the passing game?
I think the main difference is just different people out there. A couple guys that haven't really had time here, or just a different dynamic of people that are going to be out there. But guys that are very talented and just ready to compete.
All right, Charlie, it was good to talk to you. Thanks for your time this morning and good luck.
All right, thanks, guys. That's it.
Hey, Max, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Hey, can you kind of take me through the process that you had to go through in deciding to use this extra year of eligibility? And then that's kind of a 2-part question. What do you bring to the wide receiver room that you feel is kind of unique?
Definitely. I think it was one of those situations where I had to go back to my parents and talk about it and think about it. And, with a lot of injuries that I've had in the past, it was definitely kind of an easy decision to come back just because I want to be one of those more experienced guys, being able to lead the younger guys that are coming in. And then going off your second question, I think I bring experience. And I think that's pretty important in the receiver room, especially losing Brandon and Amir. Those are pretty valuable guys we had, but we got a lot of guys coming in that I think can improve the room. So.
Max, the next question is from Scott Docterman.
Hey, Max, how are you?
Good. I'm good, Scott.
Good.
Thanks.
Yeah. You've had, as you mentioned, you have a couple of injuries that have kind of really stifled your progress here. Is there kind of a feeling of you wanted to finish strong in your career just because you've had knee injuries? And I think last year was more of a red shirt than a super senior status. What do you hope to get out of this final year at Iowa, in multiple venues, both receiver and as a returner?
Yeah, definitely. I do think it's definitely one of those years that I want to come back and give it my all, being injured, like you said, with my knee and then hamstrings last year. It's tough, but knowing that I get an extra year and I get to play in front of fans, hopefully this year, it's exciting. And it's definitely one of those things that I was beyond excited about coming back and just being able to get the chance to play in front of a crowd and hopefully continue to stay healthy. So.
The next question, Max, is from Tom Kakert.
Hey, Max. You've battled a lot of injuries. Can you chronicle the list of injuries that you've had that have kind of kept you out? And do you kind of keep a list of those things in your head all the time?
Yeah, I can list it out for you. So I started out with ACL my sophomore year. It was like one of the last games this season. So that kind of set me back. I came back at the beginning of next season. I ended up re-tearing my meniscus to start camp the next year. So that set me back a couple of weeks, but I ended up coming back for the junior year. I was pretty good, pretty healthy the whole season. And then last year in quarantine, I pulled my hamstring, and it really never healed fully because I was kind of doing all the exercises on my own. And when I came back, it was just kind of a lot to handle as soon as it came back. So it just never really fully healed. But going back to what you said, they're always in the back of my head, but it's something that you kind of just store away and you don't really think about, because if you end up thinking about it, there's a better chance that you can get injured. You kind of play timid, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to play fully healthy, fully confident. So, it's always there, but you really don't think about it because you're just looking ahead.
Max, the next question is from Chad Leistico.
Yeah, something on your bio that stood out to me is that you were comeback player of the year on offense in 2019. Can you talk to me about what did you do that year that maybe lifted you up in the eyes of coaches? Even though, I mean, obviously we didn't see you on the field a ton, but obviously you did something behind the scenes pretty well that must give you confidence going into this.
Yeah, it's just a lot of hard work. With the whole ACL injury, it's one of those things that you get injured and you'd think, I could either go two ways. I could either just not really come back strong and just kind of lackadaisically come back and take my time, or I could just give it my all and just try and come back and work my hardest. And that was just my goal, to come back as fast as I could. And I was trying to impact the team as best as I could. So I put in a lot of hard work that year, and that's just been my goal ever since then, is like to continue to keep putting in that hard work ever since that ACL tear.
The next question, Max, is from Jet Beecham.
Hey, Max, you mentioned obviously with Amir and Brandon gone, there's a lot of opportunity for a bunch of wide receivers. And Spencer mentioned last week that, it's probably going to be more wide receiver by committee. Does that change the offense and the passing attack any for you guys? Have you seen any changes maybe this offseason and how you guys plan to attack defenses?
Honestly, no. I think we're just trying to improve every day, and going against the DBs that we have, they're all pretty experienced and they're great DBs. So it's a great experience for the younger guys coming in. And for us, it's just iron against iron. They're great competition every day. And I think it's just a continual grind to improve every day. So.
The next question from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Max, you're catching passes from, primarily three scholarship quarterbacks and another walk-on in there. What have you, or a couple walk-ons? What do you, how can you break down maybe what you've seen thus far this spring from Spencer, Alex, and Deuce specifically?
I think they're all doing a great job. Quarterback's a hard position, and especially playing D1 quarterback, it's really, really tough. And I think they're all doing a great job. I think they have the same mindset as everyone else on the team. It's just to continue to improve every day. And I think they're doing a great job doing that.
With the younger receivers, especially the true freshmen that just walked in, Keegan and Arland, do they have any kind of special skills that you think that not only could help impact this team this fall, but beyond in 2, 3, 4 years down the road?
I think they're doing a really, really good job of learning the offense pretty quick. That's definitely some that they're learning faster than I did. They're both quick, they're both fast, they're both explosive. So I think they're two guys that have a great chance to be a great contributing factor on this team, and they just got to continue to improve. And being a true freshman coming in and getting reps, and it's just something that it can be scary at first, but I think they're doing a really good job and taking it really well. And they're just continuing to improve every day. So
along those lines, and I hate to interrupt if anybody has a question, is you stepped in, you played right away as a true freshman. What's kind of your recollection of that crazy 2017 season, and then how would you help prepare maybe one or both of those guys if they had to step in and contribute on offense?
Yeah, I mean, coming in as a true freshman, like, the game is extremely fast compared to high school. I'd say that's the number one difference. I think just staying in the playbook and studying the plays is a huge thing to make the pace of play slow down a lot for you as a freshman. I think they're doing a great job of studying the playbook. They've been learning it really well. Advice I'd give, I'd say just continue to ask the older guys. So me, Tyrone, Nico, all the guys that just know the playbook pretty well, in and out, and just continue to try and learn them over and over until they got it down and they feel comfortable doing it.
Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, you've been around the program from a lifting perspective for a long time. Are there any differences you've noticed in the way Raymond Braithwaite conducts lifting sessions that are maybe different than the way Chris Doyle did before your first couple of years?
I think it's still that trying to get better every day, trying to grind to get stronger and everything. I think Ray's done a great job. Coach Braithwaite's really stepped it up, and he's filled the shoes very, very well, and I think he's doing a great job.
What's kind of his demeanor like? I mean, is he quiet? Is he reserved? Is he loud? Is he boisterous? Does he get in your face? I mean, how does he kind of conduct himself? He's a very good relationship with everyone on the team. So he doesn't really need to yell or anything. When he gets on you, it's not
it's just constructive criticism. It's nothing to be afraid of. And I think he just does a great job and has a great relationship with everyone. It's nothing out of the blue or it's crazy. I think he's just very well respected amongst the team. So
Thank you.
Max, the next question is from Leah Van.
Yeah, Max, I'm Leah from the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Yeah, so, you know, we've had veteran receivers for quite a few years now, and Amir and Brandon. I'm wondering how the offense might look different this year with a bunch of young talent and also having Tyrone Tracy and people like you kind of as the new targets on the team.
Yeah, you know, they were pretty big key factors in our offense last year, but I think we have a lot of guys that have the ability to step up and definitely take their spot and lead the offense and continue to try and improve the offense every day. I think there's plenty of guys in the offense that have the ability to do that, and I think it's going to be definitely a fun year for Iowa football this year. So,
what do some of like the other veterans on the team specifically bring to this wide receiver position?
Like I said in the beginning, I think experience is something that's huge, especially for the younger guys that came in. Having people that have experience, it gives the younger guys confidence to ask them questions if they have any questions about the offense and stuff like that, certain plays, situations. So I think experience is huge. It also can help them with just like little things like route running, certain details in the receiver position. So to going back to it, I think experience is a really key characteristic that we bring.
All right, Max, we wish you continued health and thank you for joining us this morning, sharing your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Tyrone, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good. Last year was a little difficult there's only one ball and there were several playmakers in the backfield and out wide. This spring, you get a chance to really showcase what you can do. How's this spring going for you, and how instrumental and involved are you going to be in the offense this year?
We had a lot of playmakers. We did have a lot of playmakers last year, but you know you can't get mad because, like you said, we do have a lot of good playmakers on the field. But this year, we still have a lot of playmakers, but I am like in the forefront right now. You know, leading the group. So yeah, I mean, I'm doing pretty well at the moment. I'm still got some areas I can still get better at, like blocking and looking at every catch in and making every contested catch. But yeah, right now I think we're doing good as a whole, and we still got some work to do, but we're going in the right direction.
Tyrone, the next question is from Tom Kakert.
Hey, Tyrone. How have you seen Spencer Petras grow since the end of last season, and what have you seen from him this spring that kind of builds more confidence?
If y'all could remember, Spence wasn't super accurate last fall, but right now, I mean, he's putting balls on the money. He's a great leader, which he's always been a great leader, but right now it seems like he has more respect because he's been on the field for a year, and he's acting like he knows what he's doing. He's a vet, but yeah, he's being a great leader, and he's working on just leading the whole offense, not just the quarterbacks and the receivers. He's being a leader as a whole. And that's really it.
The next question, Tyrone, is from Chad Leistico.
Hey, man. I mean, just looking at your stats last year, I'm sure you're not thrilled with them. 14 catches, I think, 154 yards. I mean, I know it's not all about the stats, but I think everyone here knows we saw you up at Wisconsin. We saw what you did a couple years ago. What do you have in mind this year? What you can do?
Last year was a bit of a downfall, but I'm not really a stats person. As long as we winning, I'm good. But my main thing this year is really just leading the whole offense forward. I'm not really worried about my personal stats or my personal awards or anything like that. My first main thing is being a great leader on the team and on the offense, and especially in the receiver group. If we have 3 receivers that's doing really good, I feel like, and I'm not doing that good, I feel like we're still in a good spot. But this year, I mean, my goal is to do better than 13 catches and 100 yards. Hopefully I can get that in one game, but we'll see where we go. But my main goal right now is just being a great teammate.
Tyrone, the next question is from David Eichelt.
Hey, Tyrone, how you doing? Thinking back to last year, how tough was it for you just kind of going throughout the season? How did you kind of remain patient despite you not maybe getting the ball in your hands as much as you would have liked? And what was kind of the offseason conversation like with Coach Copeland heading into this season?
Yeah, last season I really had to do a lot of like self-talk. It was very difficult just because I came off of a semi-good season my rest of sophomore year. So my expectation was to, do better than that. And obviously, it didn't go that way. But at the end of the day, you have to, look in the mirror and, ask yourself, what are you doing to make the team better? If me complaining and walking around my head down and, having that negative energy, that's not making the team a better, overall. So like I said, I just had to look in the mirror and do what I could. If that's blocking, 100 times a game, that's what I got to do to make the team better. But right now, Coach basically just told me that like I just gotta lead the group, and everything else will come. He wants me in playmaking positions, obviously, but I know there's only one ball, and we have plenty of playmakers on the team. So I know that I can't get the ball every time. So I'm gonna just do what I can when I do get the ball in my hands.
The next question, Tyrone, from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Tyrone, when you were at, I think, Decatur Central, you lit up the weight room there. You got to Iowa, you rang the bell. I remember some of that in the summer. What's been the transition like going from the Chris Doyle way to the Raymond Braithwaite way? And how has it impacted you? And what's kind of your general thoughts about the strength and conditioning program over almost the last 10 months or so?
To be honest with you, nothing has really changed since Ray took over. Ray is kind of, I wouldn't even say more laid back, but like he's more calm. He doesn't really like yell a lot, but like he understands that like he doesn't have to yell to get the point across. Him just talking to us, and he lets the leaders on the team take action. If a younger guy isn't following directions, he makes sure that we are holding ourselves accountable. That's one of the things that Ray has changed. Since he's taken over, he's made sure that everyone on the team is helping everyone on the team. There's a saying that he says that each one teach one, or each one reach one. Basically saying that like we all are accountable for each other. So over this past year, I mean, nothing really changed in the weight room wise. We're still lifting hard, we're still getting at it, but he's just taking a different approach.
The next question, Tyrone, from Mike Halas.
Tyrone, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Non-football question. I saw, I think it was a few moments ago, you retweeted something about the situation with the police officer, pepper spraying the Army lieutenant in December. Would you care to amplify on that at all? Or, I mean, clearly it moved you.
I mean, yeah, anything that happens in that nature is just wrong. It's just downright wrong. It ain't really much you can say about it, just because like if anyone is watching and seeing like what's going on and you're not doing anything about it, then you're in the wrong, obviously. I feel like right now it's kind of they do it and then life goes on, which it shouldn't be that way. Everyone should have consequences for their actions, and I feel like there's not enough consequences going around, so that's why it keeps happening on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you.
Tyrone, the next question is from Tom Kakert.
Tyrone, you got a couple of true freshmen that joined you guys, Keegan Johnson and Arlen Bruce. What have you seen from those two guys, and how are you helping them as a leader this spring?
I mean, I see a lot of growth since they even got here in January. Just from going from routes on air to spring ball. I mean, they're still learning. They're still young. They make mistakes, just like any other freshman would do when they first get here. But I mean, they are evolving in ways that like you probably wouldn't even imagine. They came a long way. They still got a long way to go, but I think they're going to be real good use to our offense. I mean, I've been, meeting with them and basically just telling them if they ever need me, they can always call me. I talk to them every day, but I'm the type of leader that's like not going to force myself on you. If you need my help, I'm always there. If you have any questions, you can always ask me. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to force myself on you. I'm not going to, interrupt your peace or anything like that. So yeah.
The next question, Tyrone, is from Chad Leistico.
So you mentioned earlier, you didn't want to, I guess, sulk or whatever about your playing time last year. Did you feel like you did that, or were you saying you did a good job of avoiding that mentality last year, or did you slip into that a little bit and then break yourself out? Can you kind of walk me through that?
Yeah, I got you. So at the beginning of the season, I did kind of like slip into that mindset of just, I need the ball type mindset. But towards the middle, end of the season, I kind of made sure that I'm doing whatever I can to make the team better. I met with Coach Cope and Brian and KF, and basically they were just saying, there's really nothing that I'm doing wrong. It's just some plays wasn't going my way and some plays was. But like I said, we had two seniors on the team, Amir and B. Smith. So there's really, wasn't much room for this ball to go my way when you have two dynamic playmakers on the team like that. So I realized I just had to look in the mirror and I kind of basically just, pep talk myself while I'm on the field. Like, you got this, it's okay, don't worry about it. Next play, just little stuff like that to keep me in the game.
The next question, Tyrone, from Scott Docterman.
2 years ago, Tyrone, you were one of 3 Iowa receivers over the last 10 years to catch 30 passes for a 16-yard average. Is that the type of Tyrone Tracy we're going to see? And which position are you locking down on ones more specifically this time, as opposed to playing kind of all 3 roles in the past?
So yeah, I mean, obviously I got really high goals for this year. Obviously knowing that B. Smith and Amir left, I have some, big shoes to fill, and I'm ready to take that role. But on the other hand, I'm kind of just taking it day by day. I'm not trying to rush things. I'm still working on my craft, still working on my routes, and just being an overall, good teammate. And I mean, for this year, I can't really give you a position just because I'm very versatile. So it's really hard for me to tell you, I'm playing X, I'm playing F. I play everywhere, to be quite honest with you.
Tyrone, we're going to take 2 more questions. The first one is from Jet Beecham.
Hey, Tyrone, I appreciate you being honest about the officer situation. I mean, obviously there was also, some happened in Minneapolis again with another black man and the police and in Dante Wright. What are your thoughts on that when you saw that? And obviously that situation and especially with what I was been through, last offseason into this year, do you guys feel comfortable talking about that stuff? Have you felt that, the team can discuss those type of things and have you guys already?
Yeah, I think we can discuss those type of things, but at the same time, there isn't a time that we have like to actually talk about, you know what I mean? Like most of the time we're in here, we either, talk about football, going over film, or we in the weight room. We might talk about it in the locker room, but with coaches and, athletes sitting down as a team and taking time to talk about it, I mean, we don't really get around to that. But personally, I think it's very I wouldn't even say human, like, just because it's very just disturbing. It's very disturbing. Like I said, I got 3 brothers. I got a dad, a mom, and I'm not with them right now. So I know they're worried about me and I'm worried about them. So it just takes a toll on us and overall.
Thank you.
And the final question this morning is from Leah Van.
Hi, Tyrone. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm Leanne from the Cedar Rapids Gazette. I'm new, but I just wanted to ask, what does Coach Copeland bring to this staff? I've talked to a lot of I talked to Keegan Johnson, Arlen Bruce earlier this season, and they were talking about how Iowa's trying to really emphasize its wide receivers more. And now we're seeing that 2 receivers could be taken in the drafts for the first time since 2012. So I'm just wondering, from your perspective, what does Copeland bring? And do you see wide receivers being used more this year?
Coach Cole brings a lot of things to the table. I think the main thing he brings is just he's very versatile. If you are around him, he's a smart man, and he puts you in the best situation to succeed. Like you might not think it's the best situation, but like thinking like in the future tense, like he puts you in the best situation to succeed, and that's why we have potentially 2 receivers right now about to get drafted. And I wouldn't say with the old receiver coach they wouldn't be there, but Cope definitely had a huge impact, on their careers here. So I mean, you can take that, how you want it. But for me personally, I think Cope is like the best receiver for me, and I wouldn't like want to go anywhere else or be coached by anyone else.
Is it endearing to see people like Brandon and Amir like reaching the level that they are and maybe getting drafted? I mean, how does that make you feel as a wide receiver on this team?
Yeah, I definitely look up to them too. I've been looking up to them since I stepped on campus. So them being drafted or even like being potentially drafted, like that's huge for me. Because like I'm a year below them, so it's like it's my time to shine, and it's I'm next basically. So that's like my mindset right now. But like I said, I'm taking it day by day. I'm not really looking into the past, but when they do get drafted, you best believe I'm going to be the happiest Hawkeye, biggest Amir and B. Smith fan.
All right, Tyrone, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your perspectives, and we wish you luck. Thanks for your time.
No problem.